comic book fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host as always, Cammy. Now, we don't have the pick of the week, but we do have a Fast 5, so let's get right into the Fast 5. First up from Marvel, we have The Amazing Spider-Man number 607. Now, I really like this because you get Black Cat and Spider-Man back together. Not only back together, but hooking up and doing the nasty. Meow! So, the whole thing is Diablo, this old Fantastic Four villain, is kind of, that's the villain of the whole little arc, written by the amazing Joe Kelly. I always loved his Spider-Man stories. But we find that Dexter Bennett's old partner, he was the one murdered in the safe that we saw last issue, from Diablo's little special pills where he can just throw a pill, it explodes, and then he just gives the property for it, and then it'll turn into whatever. Well, Dexter Bennett informed Spider-Man that's how his partner got the steel for so cheap. He was working with Diablo. Diablo was making the steel for him, but everything has an expiration date, and now it's a rush against time to find the buildings that have the steel in them, because as soon as they expire, then the insurance, huge disaster, but the insurance people will get billions and billions of dollars. So the whole thing is they have to go, Black Cat and Spider-Man, they go fight him, they take him down, they get trapped in gold at one point. But it's a good story, it's good action. You get Black Cat, Spider-Man versus an old-timey villain who might be joining the newly revamped Sinister Six. So tune in for that later. Next up from DC, we have Gotham City Sirens number 4. Now we're back on track, it's no more Riddler one-shots. We have Selina Kyle and Poison Ivy looking for Harley. Bruce Wayne has kind of kidnapped her. Harley doesn't really know it though because she's kind of a ditz. She just says, "Ooh, Bruce Wayne, dreamy swoon, rich guy." And the TMZ of Gotham City, catches him out on a date when actually Bruce wants to get her somewhere high so he can make it look like an accident, like push her off the side of a building. Well, the Joker sees this, and Joker's kind of a jealous lover. He sees that, hey, oh look, there's Harley with Bruce Wayne. Well, if I can't have her, no one will. And she's dead to me, literally, because I'm going to send my goons to kill her. So there's a whole airtop battle with the Joker's old Zeppelin, firing down upon Bruce Wayne, Harley. Hush was this close to pushing her off, but Selina and Poison Ivy came to the rescue, and there's a big fight. They think they get away, but at the end, well, Harley's going like, "Oh, he still cares about me. See how he came for me?" Car goes through the window, robotic Joker in the driver's seat, and it's a bomb. It's a blast. It's a little insurance to make sure that Harley is in fact dead and gone. Great stuff. Beautiful art by Gillian March. And Baldini, he knows how to write these dames, these damsels, these broads. Next up from Marvel, we have The Punisher Annual number 1. Now this is the continuation of the old villains coming back to life thanks to the Hood. Going after Frank Castle, they only have so much time to get the job done or else then they expire. All about expiration dates this week in Marvel. And so we follow Letha and Lascivus as they go on a killing spree in a whole veterans, retired veterans community just to get the attention of Frank Castle. And they do. Yeah, they do. So he tracks them down, he goes to work on them, and just while it looks like he's just going to get these two off his list, Spider-Man comes into the rescue. And this is, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So, of course, he does it. He's against killing. Says like, hey, let the courts decide. But then the girls take him under their control and say, no, you want to kill the Punisher. And so now it's a battle between Punisher, Spider-Man, and he's getting knocked all over the place. Because, Spider-Man, he has all that hidden strength. And so at the end, they get away. But before they do, just to ensure their getaway, the girls tell Spider-Man, okay, now you're completely in love with him. And so Spider-Man's all nice and cuddly and wants to love Frank Castle. And it's pretty funny until using the Pym particles, Punisher takes out Doc Ock's arm and just lets Spider-Man tangle with that. So it was a very good annual. Jason Pearson's art is just fantastic for this. I think I've seen some of his stuff before on a Deadpool or something. I'm not sure where I've seen it before, but I know I've seen it before. Great stuff. Rick Remender is having fun, you can tell, right, in this Punisher art. And I can't wait to see what happens next. Next up from DC, we have Green Lantern number 46. Now, this continues right out of the pages of Blackest Night number 3. You have the war raging on Zamaron. The Indigo Lanterns and Hal Jordan, they arrive at the scene just in time. Sinestro and him and Carol, this nice little reunion, only, Sinestro's trying to kill Hal as usual. But then we see that Khufu and Chiara from Earth, who were in the main Sapphire power battery, they were released. They have Black Lantern rings, shattering the whole lantern. And now Zamaron is no longer safe. They have to evacuate both Sinestro, Sapphires, etc. And while they're evacuating, the Indigo Lantern takes Hal, Carol, and Sinestro to Kurigar to fight against Mongol. So now it's Sinestro versus Mongol, the fight we've been waiting for. And it looks like Mongol has the upper hand, and he has all these rings on his fingers, and he's about to crush Nestor's little skull. And so Nestor goes, "Do you really think I was that stupid to invent these power rings that I myself couldn't control?" So he overrides the power rings, and they pretty much go against Mongol. And so Mongol is pretty much fucked. And just to ensure that he's not going to die and come back a Black Lantern, Sinestro puts him in the yellow power battery. So that was very cool. And so it's up to the three of them now to say, okay, times are tough. Let's make a coalition of lanterns to take down the Blackest Night. This is coming from Sinestro. So, he can make a truce. He's smart enough to know that, they can't just keep killing each other. Well, at that point, Abin Sur and Aaron Sur come crashing down as Black Lanterns, throwing everyone for a loop. So it was a very exciting, wonderful issue. I had tons of fun. If you're enjoying Blackest Night, and who isn't, you'll love this issue. You got so much action going on. And finally this week from Marvel, we have Secret Warriors number 8. Now this is another Jonathan Hickman penned book, and we follow Nick Fury is actually shot in the head a couple times by Norman Osborn. Only it's not Nick Fury, it's a life model decoy. As usual, if you think you got Nick Fury, chances are you don't have Nick Fury. The guy's that rascally, like a rabbit. Or a wascally wabbit if you're Elmer Fudd. But so, the guy actually inside of the life model decoy is Alex, son of Ares, and the god of fear. Well, Ares is very proud that his son has gotten this far, is able to, move through the ranks. And so, while Alex is scaring Norman Osborn shitless pretty much, by going, "Don't you know who I am?" They make their escape with JT and Eden. They're kind of the rescue backup. And Ares is so proud, he goes, "Okay, I'll give you a minute before, we all come storming after you." So a minute later, they're on their tail. And meanwhile, Yo-Yo has new arms. During the whole fight with Hydra, she lost her arms in one swift stroke of a blade. But now she has new ones. She really wants to get back into the, right back into the fray. But Daisy says, "No, you need rest." But then after seeing on the monitor that Hammer, Iron Patriot, Ares, Hawkeye are all after Alex and JT and Eden, and they're leading them right back to the base, well, they might need Yo-Yo sooner than they thought. So, very action-packed issue. The Secret Warriors is that hidden gem in the Marvel Universe that if you're not picking it up, you're really missing out because it is just such a fun series. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Cammy's Comic Corner. If you want more Cammy's Comic Corner goodness, head on over to www.cammyscomiccorner.com. From there, you can see the most recently uploaded yesterday interview with Sean/Cheeks Galloway and Ryan Benjamin. I had a chance to interview these fantastic artists a month ago, and if you're an aspiring artist or writer, check out these interviews. These guys have nuggets of the knowledge that they drop on you, and you could learn something from these two. And also you can subscribe to the RSS feed, iTunes, see the weekly reviews, book of the month, etc. Speaking of books of the month, you'll see one on Sunday, since it is the month of October, and I've got a creepy one for you. If you like any of the comic book t-shirts that you see me wearing, like Scalp, head on over to www.deadlinegraphics.net and send Kelly an email. He has an entire catalog of DC, Marvel, Vertigo, IDW, Image, whatever you want, he can make it for you. There's only one name that I trust when it comes to comic book t-shirts, and that is Kelly over at www.deadlinegraphics.net. And another huge shout out to my other sponsor, Rising Sun Creations at rsc-online.com. They were the ones who hosted the signings of Sean and Ryan, and it was just so much fun. I love these guys. They specialize in the best of U.S. comic books, manga, and collectible toys imported straight from Japan. Located on one convenient online store and physical store if you're in Mission Valley in the San Diego area. Huge props to them. I can't highly recommend their services enough. I'm always a happy customer. Well, comic book fans, that really does do it this week. Check out the Book of the Month episode this Sunday, and then check out the interviews like I said before. I have other things to go do right now. Stuff, important stuff. It's just so important you can't understand how important this is. I would tell you, but it's just so important that it would just go right over your head. It's that important. I'm gonna go make coffee. Have a good day, everybody.